So how do we do this?
So,
To be honest, I knew that it was a good call. I knew it was a dream that was viable and it was worth something. But if I come here and I tell you that, oh, I expected, or when we were having our meetings, we said, oh, you know, that time the governor is going to come, the president will tweet you, it's an amazing thing that it became, people understood the vision and understood and realized what it took to get to that point. But even when I had this dream, I did not realize how big it was going to be, But I do know that it was important to me to make sure that everything was done perfectly well. We followed all the rules. Like, basically, I had an experience I wanted to create, and I did not falter in or cut corners in creating that experience. And I would say maybe God, just knowing what my intentions were, just decided to, put this out there way bigger than I had imagined. So to answer your question, no, but I'm really happy it became what it is now. My record has been validated.
That's right.
It's what is coming is a certificate. It's just a certification. Because do you see what we have done? This is everywhere. Everywhere. Like, people are talking about Nigeria from countries that we did not even know existed. Like, what more do you want? It goes beyond, it has gone way beyond the certificate, and it has gone way beyond the plaque. And because I know in my heart that we did everything by the books, every single thing by the books, we made sure that we left absolutely no stone unturned when we looked at the guidelines. We got the timekeepers, we got the adjudicators, they ran their shifts. We did it all. We measured every single meal that was made. We measured the yield. We counted the numbers. We have all the statistics. We have all the documentation. Like, it wasn't child's play. It was a very deliberate attempt, and we put in the work. And because I know that we put in the work, we were live the entire time. We were live the entire time. So if there was anybody that had the time and watched it from day 1 till day 5, they know that I did it. They know that we did it. So if the attempt is not validated by Guinness, it's their problem. So when I say I prepared for this for 5 years, a lot of people might assume that I started losing weight 5 years ago. 5 years ago, there was no My Food by Hilda. 5 years ago, I could not afford to even have this conversation, because before you even start something like this, at least you need to be able to have a little bit of backing, right? I couldn't afford to do that, but God had already laid it in my heart 5 years ago. And I think He now prepared me, prepared my brand. I didn't meet my executive producer 5 years ago. I didn't know her 5 years ago. So He just knew that He needed to put certain people on my path to make this possible, to make this happen, right? So that, I would say that was pretty much the journey 5 years ago, building the brand, building the person. And then I kept saying that I could not have done this. I remember when I did the dry run, I said I couldn't have done this when I was bigger. So it was my motivation to lose weight, the Cook-A-Thon? Absolutely not. But I knew that there's so much I want to do with my life, and I have to be on my feet as much as possible. And to get on that, I need to, eliminate the little things that affect me mentally. Now, one of the things that affected me mentally was my weight. I wasn't happy with how I looked at the time. And my brother would always say, the quickest way to feel better about something that you don't like is to do something about it. Because the next time you start to feel bad about, being a certain way. Like for me, it was being at that size is, oh, I am feeling better about it because I know I'm doing something about it. Okay, now I'm on a weight loss journey, right? Now, I put in a lot more effort into fitness. That's going to the gym, being more consistent and building my form, because standing for 4 days is no small feat, right? It was, even with all the exercise and all the gymming, it was incredibly difficult. My feet, at a point, my feet was double the size. My ankles are pretty much still swollen, honestly. My back still hurts. You know, I have burns from, you know, hot. I slept and burnt my hand at some point. So even with all the fitness, it still took a lot out of me physically. I've lost 4 kg in the last like 3 days because till now I'm still unable to eat. I still am unable to sleep properly. I'm tired, but my body is refusing to shut down. So it still took a lot out of me. You know, like I said, it's a journey, and it's honestly still is like a continuing journey, because as the day goes by, I would have to navigate, you know, through this new phase, and eventually just figure out how to adjust my mental state and my physical state till I'm back to like 100. But you know, they always say the show must go on. You have to keep at it. You know, I think at this point we were like, you know, it would be nice if it's a round number. Let's just round it up. And for me, my concern was, do we have the raw materials to cook for more people? And the minute Chef Gibbs gave me like the information that, oh yeah, we still have, we just restocked, so we have stock, we can cook till tomorrow if you want. I was like, okay, you know, I might as well just go for it. Then your first question was, I knew that this wasn't something that everybody was going to be jumping at. And I remember having a meeting with the team, and you know, when it was getting much closer to the event. Sorry, there's a bit of noise and it's a bit distracting. Okay, so when we're getting much closer to the event, and you know, it was almost like some spirits were down just because we weren't getting the reaction that we hoped we were going to get. And I did tell them, I remember telling them that, you know, this is not what is important. What is important right now is the attempt at making sure that it happens and we do it properly, right? You can't blame these brands. This is business for them. This is something different for me. But when you're going to a brand, you're going to them and saying, oh, I'm doing this thing and I think it will be valuable to you. They will look at it from a business standpoint. And maybe they don't see the vision now, but they might see it later. It's not that big a deal. Let's just move on from it, and let's just work with the brands we have and use the resources that we have to make this happen. So was I downcast about it? Definitely not. At no point did I feel like, oh my God, this is not going to happen because I don't have 1 million brands on it. Because when I set out to do this, I was determined that it was going to happen regardless, no matter what. However we were going to make it happen, we were going to make it happen. And I'm so grateful for the brands that did come on board, because they definitely came together to make it a beautiful experience. So thank you so much to them. Let me just use this opportunity to say thank you to every single sponsor that came on board for the Cook-A-Thon. I don't take your... You should try it. And I didn't do this to say nobody else. You do 100 so that somebody else will do 110. That person that does 110 does it so that the next person will do 150. And we'll just keep increasing the number and seeing how far we can go and expanding on what we're capable of. Maybe before now, nobody knew that it was possible to stand for 100 hours cooking. But because somebody has done it, it means it's possible and it's doable. One of the major reasons why we were so intentional with filming the entire process was, when I wanted to attempt this, I went online to find videos of the previous chef that did it, and I could only find 2 to 3 videos. One of the reasons why I did not know I could sit, despite the fact that Guinness did not ask me to stand, was that the few videos I saw, she was standing. Only after the attempt did I find a clip on Twitter where she was sitting. And that was when we realized, oh, Hilda, Baci, you could have sat. You know? So for me is, I knew that somebody else wants to do this after I've done it. So I want to give you the template. I need you to see what it takes, that it is not beans, it's not child's play. So you know what you're getting yourself into. Because if you do it, by all means, I wish you all the best. I've done it, and I'm happy for where it has gotten me.
Yeah.
And I pray that it does you the same and even does you better. There's no contempt. It's like, I just hope that he has put in, he has done the right documentations, he has gotten the approval to attempt it, so he doesn't go through all that stress, and then he doesn't get, like what you asked, the validation from Guinness. So, in the beginning, when I started the attempt, I would say the first day was the hardest day. I almost gave up at least 6 times on the first day. And as time went on, and my family, my friends, my followers, and just the general public that came and, sort of became part of the dream and became part of, like, will I call it the journey. Even when I wanted to give up and I saw how invested people were, it dawned on me more that I knew I wasn't doing this for just myself, but in that moment, it was more about the people that were there. And I could not have finished that 100 hours without those people. So I could not have said, I've done 100 hours, so I'm going. I have to thank them, I have to talk to them, because it's important to me that they know how their support and their impact and their presence there, both online and offline, helped me get through those days, or helped me get through those hours, and helped me get through those, very, very difficult times. I would say I drew a lot of strength from God, because honestly speaking, my body did fail me. My body failed me so many times. And every single time that my body failed me, especially on the first day, I cried to God and I begged for a miracle. I remember on the second day, we had an entire worship session under the rain. I wasn't under the rain, but the people that came there, my brother, my friends, my followers, like the people that were there were under the rain, not a care in the world about pneumonia or sickness, or they stayed there and they prayed and they cried with me for at least 3 hours, just begging God for strength. Because honestly, my body had told me, I'm done. I'm not doing this with you anymore. If you are going to continue, you're on your own. So I could not have done this without God. It's impossible. If I tell you that, I worked out, it was the working out, the working out got me there. But what kept me there was God. And I honestly drew strength from every single person that was there. Like, if I want to start saying, thank you to this person, thank you to this person, thank you to that person, we will not live here, because some of you saw them, some of you heard them, some of you watched the live, and you saw these people, and this support didn't start from when the Cook-A-Thon. I heard a lot of people saying, they're there when it was cool to be there. Like, at no point was it exciting. People were standing under the sun, under the rain. At a point, the food I was making wasn't enough to go around. The small chops we had made provision for, the cocktails, like, we had maxed out on everything, and they were still there. They didn't have to be there. They could have gone home to rest. I heard there was so much traffic, the road was blocked, and people were literally going through the fence to come. And it wasn't like they took selfies with me, or they got merchandise, or they got money. So it was, honestly, I feel like it was purely just Nigerians seeing a dream that was viable, and they just wanted to be a part of it. And honestly, I think that is something that we need to propagate, because there's so much negative press about Nigerians, but we're such amazing people. Just give us a chance. Honestly, just give us a chance, because we would thrive in the most difficult conditions. In the most difficult conditions. People couldn't breathe in that place, and they were still there. they were still cheering, they were still chanting. They honestly just wanted to see me get to the end. Like, nothing beats that feeling. That people that don't know you from Adam, don't know your father, don't know your mother, decided to come and fight for a cause because they believe in you. It's honestly everything. You know why? Because when you do something like this and then there is this much attention on you, everyone is waiting for the next thing that you're about to do. And everybody expects that the next thing that you're going to do has to be bigger than the last thing that you have done. But I've made a conscious effort to tell myself that this was a means to an end. There were reasons why I decided to do this. Before now, I own a restaurant, I teach, and one of my biggest goals is I want Nigerian recipes to be propagated across the world. You know, I want it to be a normal thing to make egusi soup in an American home. I want you to be able to walk into any random supermarket and find Nigerian ingredients, not have to travel hours to one African store to find just a couple ingredients. Now, the only way we are going to be able to achieve that is if the demand for it increases. Because if the demand for it increases, it means that there is now a market there, and people will feel that, okay, I need to start cultivating egusi in Atlanta. I need to start planting wild spinach, that's okazi, in the UK. I need to, so I need to do this. Now, doing this Cook-A-Thon meant more people will be interested in Nigerian recipes, but this is not the only thing I have to do. It means I still have to teach more people how to cook Nigerian food. Hopefully, it means more people will be interested in learning how to make these meals that I made during the Cook-A-Thon. So it still helps me to achieve my goal. I want to expand my restaurant. I was already in process of, setting motion to expand my restaurant, opening up to investors to come in and, franchise for other countries and other parts of the world as well. Because I'm trying to create jobs. Now, everybody wants to work in an oil company because there are so many perks. I used to tell my staff that very soon, it will be a big deal to be working in my food area because the perks are going to be so good. You'll find a chef that has an official car, that has his own house because he's well paid, has his insurance, has his HMO. That is the system that I am trying to build. It is not only white collar jobs that deserve a lot of recognition. I feel like in the culinary space, we look down on what we bring and what we provide, which is why for the most part, people are not pricing their business properly. And it's important to me that more women know that the business that you are doing, whether it is makeup, it can fund your lifestyle. You just need to treat it as that. You need to treat your business as something that is going to fund your lifestyle, which means you have to price properly, you need to make your money work for you, you have to be prudent in your spending, and I can only do that by showing people how it's done, and that's exactly what I will keep doing.